Hi, Rushton Stars. It's Mrs. Fauser. I found a story about Native Americans that I wanted to share with you today. It's another Disney story. It's called Brother Bear. I'm reading a story about Native Americans to the older grades, 3rd through 6th grade. So I thought maybe you would enjoy a story about Native Americans too. So today we'll read Disney's Brother Bear. Long ago there lived 3 brothers who were taught that the lights of the northern sky were the spirits of their ancestors. These spirits had the power to make changes, small things into big, winter into spring, and boys into men. One day the villagers gathered for a special ceremony. Tanana, the shaman woman, presented Kenai, the youngest of the 3 brothers, with his totem, the animal symbol he was to follow to become a man. Your totem is love, said Tanana, giving him a carved bear totem. Let love guide your actions, and one day you will place your mark next to those of our ancestors, she added, pointing to a wall covered with handprints. The bear of love? Kenai frowned. Want to trade? He asked his brothers. His older brothers laughed. They had already received their totems. Sitka's was the eagle of guidance, and Denahi's was the wolf of wisdom. After the ceremony, the brothers left to get the fish they had caught for the evening's feast. A bear doesn't love anyone, Kenai said unhappily to Sitka. They don't think, they don't feel, they're just... Just then Denahi found the remains of the fish basket that had held their fish. Thieves! Shouted Kenai, staring at the bear tracks. Kenai followed the tracks into the woods to find the basket. When Kenai didn't return, Sitka and Denahi went after him. It wasn't long before they heard Kenai cry out. He had slipped off a ledge trying to escape from a bear. Quickly, Denahi distracted the bear, while Sitka helped Kenai. But then Denahi slipped into a dangerous crevice. While Kenai helped him, Sitka faced the bear. Suddenly the bear turned and headed for Kenai and Denahi. To save his brothers, Sitka raised his spear and thrust it down into a crack in the ice. The ice split, and the piece on which Sitka and the bear were standing plunged into the freezing water below. From far above, Kenai and Denahi saw the bear emerge from the water, but not Sitka. Their oldest brother would now be joining the great spirits in the form of his totem, the eagle. Denahi felt great sadness, but Kenai felt great anger. The next day, Kenai was determined to go after the bear that had caused Sitka's death, but Denahi would not go with him. Angry, Kenai threw his bear totem into a fire and left the village. Tanana pulled the totem from the fire. I've got to go after him, Denahi said, taking the bear totem. Kenai tracked and eventually found the bear. After a fierce struggle, Kenai fell to the ground. The animal charged towards him. Kenai raised his spear. The bear crashed into him, let out a roar, and then fell silent. Suddenly, lights burst down from the sky and swirled around Kenai. A giant eagle landed next to him and turned into Sitka. Then Kenai felt himself being lifted into the air. He didn't realize that he was being magically transformed into the creature he hated most, a bear. The lights disappeared, and it began to rain. Just then Denahi arrived and saw a grizzly bear standing on Kenai's clothes. Denahi didn't know Kane was now a bear, so he thought that the bear had killed Kane. Before he could react, a bolt of lightning sent the bear tumbling into the river below. Kane was swept away. Now it was Denahi's turn to want revenge. He tied Kane's bear totem to his spear and began to track the bear. When Kane opened his eyes the next morning, Tanana was leaning over him. Kane spoke to her excitedly, telling her of all that had happened to him. But all Tanana could hear were growls. "Kane, I don't speak bear," said the wise woman. Kane didn't understand. Then he looked into the river at his reflection. "No!" he shouted. He twisted around and looked at his furry tail. "Ah!" he cried. To get Kane's attention, Tanana took off her boot and bonked him on the head with it. "Listen to me. Sitka did this," said Tanana. "Take it up with your brother's spirit. If you want to change, go to the mountain where the lights touch the earth. He'll help you make up for what you've done wrong." Kane was shocked. "But I didn't do anything wrong," he began. But Tanana had already disappeared. Kane didn't know where to go, and he had no one to ask until he heard two chipmunks talking. Kane was surprised he could understand them. He tried to talk to them, but the terrified chipmunks raced away. Then Kane heard a family of geese flying overhead. "Are we there yet?" a young goose asked his father. Kane frantically tried asking for directions to where the lights touched the earth, but the geese kept flying. Two moose brothers named Rut and Took were watching Kane. "What's he getting all worked up about?" said the moose named Took. "Maybe the goose pooped on him, eh?" said Rut, laughing. But the moose stopped laughing when they saw that the bear was headed for them. "How's it going, bear?" said Took, a little nervously. "I'm not a bear. I hate bears," answered Kane. "Well, gee, you're one big beaver," said Rut. "I am not a beaver. I'm a bear. No, I'm not a bear. I'm a man," Kane shouted. "I was transformed into a bear, magically." The moose thought Kane was crazy and decided to play along. "Oh, yeah, we're not moose either. We're squirrels," Took offered. "Why am I even talking to a couple of dumb moose?" Kane wondered as he stomped off. Almost immediately, Kane's foot was caught in a trap. He swung in the air from one leg, struggling to get free. A bear cub named Koda stepped out of the bushes and offered to help Kane. But Kane didn't want a bear's help, especially a little chatty cub like Koda. Kane tried to free himself, but it was no use, and Koda just wouldn't leave. "Don't you have somewhere to go?" asked Kane. "Yeah, the salmon run," answered Koda. "How about this? I get you down, then we go together." Kane was so exhausted that he agreed to go to the salmon run if Koda would free him. With that, Koda sprang the trap, and Kane crashed to the ground. Just then Koda sniffed the air. He could smell an approaching hunter. "Run!" he cried as he scampered off. The hunter was Denahi. Kane cried, "Denahi, it's me, Kane!" But all Denahi heard was growling. To Denahi, this was the bear that had killed Kane. He threw his spear but missed. Kane realized Denahi was hunting him and ran away. Kane ducked into the same ice cave where Koda was hiding. Kane told the little bear that he wasn't going to the salmon run. So Koda told Kane the truth. A hunter had caused him and his mother to be separated. Koda's only hope of finding her was to go to the salmon run. Still, Kane refused to go. "Come on, please. Every night we watch the lights touch the mountain," pleaded Koda. "You're kidding me," said Kane excitedly. That was the place where he could be changed back into a man. Kane agreed to go with the little cub. The next morning the two bears set out. At first Kane was annoyed by Koda's constant chatter and silly games, but after a while Kane joined in and even had some fun. Once again, Rut and Took appeared. "There's a hunter following us," Rut explained. The two moose wanted the bears to protect them. Kane knew the hunter was Denahi, and he had a plan to keep Denahi from following their tracks. The group, along with some other animals, found a herd of mammoths and hitched a ride on their backs. That night, as they watched the lights in the northern sky, Koda said, "Mom says the spirits make magical changes in the world." "My brother Sitka is a spirit," explained Kane. "If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here." Then Kane added, "He was killed by a monster." Koda looked up at the lights and said, "Thanks, Sitka. If it weren't for you, I would never have met Kane." Then Koda said to Kane, "I always wanted a brother." Touched, Kane let the cub sleep next to him. The next morning the two bears headed off by themselves. They came to a cave covered with paintings. As they looked at one painting of a hunter facing a fierce bear, Koda said, "Those monsters are really scary, especially with those sticks." Kane was shocked to hear Koda saw humans as monsters. But Kane had thought the bears were monsters. But now Kane wasn't sure what he believed. Later, the two bears came to a valley with spurting geysers. Koda remembered that the salmon run was just on the other side. As they made their way through the valley, the little bear was just as playful as ever. But suddenly, Koda stopped playing. Thwack! A spear just missed Kane by inches. Denahi had found them. Kane grabbed Koda and rushed toward a log bridge. When they were halfway across the bridge, Denahi cut the log loose. Kane tossed Koda up to safe ground, then scrambled to safety just as the bridge collapsed. Denahi screamed in rage as the bears got away. When Kane looked back, he felt very sad that his brother did not know him. Before long, Kane and Koda reached the salmon run. At first, Kane was scared to be among the huge bears, but they were friendly and welcomed him as part of the family. A while later, Kane was learning to fish, just like the other bears. Although Koda was sad to learn that his mother wasn't there yet, he was happy to be with his bear pals again. Soon Kane and Koda were having fun. Later in the day, the bears gathered around to tell stories of what they'd done in the past year. Kane explained that he'd been on the hardest journey of his life, with the biggest pain in the neck he had ever met. "But what do you expect from a little brother?" Kane added, looking at Koda. Then it was Koda's turn. He told a story of his mother protecting him from some hunters. She and one of the hunters had plunged into the river when the hunter had cracked the ice. Kane couldn't believe what he was hearing. Koda was telling the story of the day his brother, Sitka, was killed by a bear. Now he knew it was also the story of a mother bear protecting her cub. "She got out of the water okay," continued Koda. "That's how we got separated. Right after that, I met Kane." Hearing this, Kane realized that the bear he had killed was Koda's mother. Kane felt terrible. Kane felt so badly that he ran away, but Koda finally found him. Kane knew he had to tell the cub the truth. "Koda," Kane began, "I have a story to tell you. It's mostly about a monster." Then Kane explained he had done something very wrong. "Your mother's not coming back," he finished sadly. Overwhelmed by the news, Koda ran away from Kane. Having no way to make things better, Kane began to climb the mountain where the lights touched the earth. After he reached the top, Kane called for Sitka. A strange figure moved toward Kane. It was Denahi. But Denahi did not see his brother Kane. What he saw was the bear on whom he had sworn revenge. Denahi ran at Kane with his spear. Just then, Koda came charging to protect Kane. The little cub had decided to follow Kane after all. He knocked into Denahi and ran off with his spear. Denahi angrily took off after Koda. "Leave him alone," roared Kane, risking his own life to protect Koda. Suddenly there was a large flash of light. A great eagle appeared and picked Kane off the ground. Magical lights began to swirl. Kane was a human once again. Denahi was confused and amazed. The bear he had just been trying to kill was his brother. The eagle spirit of Sitka had turned Kane into a bear to help him learn his gift of love. As a bear, Kane had just demonstrated a deep love for Koda. He was willing to give his own life to protect him. Awestruck, Kane looked down at his human body as Sitka changed from an eagle to his human spirit form. Then Kane spotted a terrified Koda hiding behind a boulder. "Koda, don't be afraid," said Kane. "It's me." Denahi placed the bear totem around Kane's neck. The totem reminded Kane that little Koda needed someone to protect him. "He needs me," Kane explained to his brothers. "He wanted to be a bear again." "It's all right," said Denahi. "No matter what you choose, you will always be my little brother." The two brothers embraced. Then, with a burst of swirling light, Sitka turned Kane back into a bear again. Denahi looked up at his brother, who was now an enormous bear. "Did I say little?" Then Kane, Denahi, and Koda watched as the eagle Sitka flew back into the magical lights to join the great spirits. It was time for another ceremony in the village. It was Kane's turn to put his mark on the ceremonial wall to prove that he had learned the ways of his totem and was now an adult. With Koda and the villagers watching, Denahi helped Kane place his paw print on the wall among the handprints of their ancestors. The paw print would help future generations remember this tale of love and brotherhood. Thank you for reading Brother Bear with me today. I hope you liked the story and have a great day.